in case you have nobody else. If Jordan Matthews is your guy, use him as a flex, and that's about as far as you want to go with him. Because other than that, the Vikings defense, I think, is just going to beat him up, especially coming off a bye week.
Professor Stephen Farias.
You know what? I'll start with the quarterbacks in this matchup. I'll actually say that I agree with you on this.
What?
I know. I mean, and you're like, well, no, I must be the only crazy person that's taking Cap and Winston. But it's a 47.5 point.
Listen to Fantasy Football Classroom every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Pacific Tiger Radio 91.9 FM.
Interested on the upcoming events on the University of Pacific campus? Join Tuesdays with Mari. On Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m., she will recap on everything that went on around the campus, also news around the world. Mari, the 6'2 senior from our women's basketball team, will break it down for you. Tuesdays with Mari, from 5 to 6 p.m. only on the Pacific Tigers Radio Network.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The result is for the team. It's not for myself, so it's good for us to, win, grind it out. Even though we didn't play the prettiest of football, he gave me the opportunity to play Division I soccer, which is what I wanted to do my whole life. It's a goal of mine to reach my dream of playing professional, and he has made me the smartest footballer I can be.
That's what I want to see. Like, everyone wants to see that confidence.
Good evening, Stockton, California. Welcome into the 209 Sports Show. I am JD Jeff Dominic, and alongside with me is the Professor, Mr. Adjunct Professor, DJ,
right.
J.O.D. Mark Itleon. Mark, what's up, dude?
If you're going to give me a false title,
it's not a false title.
Make sure you say it right.
It is not a false title.
Just saying.
It is not a false title.
Just saying.
They have to call you Mr., right? They call you Professor? Professor Itleon?
Mm-hmm.
I know people. So you're technically a professor. Anyways.
It's been like a year.
It's been,
not really. Yet.
Hopefully not, man. Hopefully not too much longer from now. You'll be back into the school realm. We're hoping for you, right, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Something else feels empty right now.
Yeah, I bet. Sorry about that. I'm just getting the good old mic set up. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We got quite a few things going to happen here tonight. Next week will be another great show too, so we'll talk about that one here as we get closer to the end of the night. But a lot of things to kind of touch bases on. Most of it's going to be basketball related. We do have some Pacific Tiger news to get over with on you, especially with Creaky Van Vick. She's been nominated for a couple awards. We have some Pacific Tigers men's soccer still getting their awards, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Still trying to wrap up that season. It just seems like it. Even when we think we're past it, there's always something else that kind of comes up in front of us, and we always want to make sure we give them honorable mentions. Not to mention that baseball is starting to rear its awesomeness as it starts to run around the corner, because they're starting to do their banquets. So we'll give them a little plug, as baseball is it's about 2.5-ish months away, roughly 2 to 3 months. We'll just kind of ballpark in here a little bit.
And you're talking about soccer. We can't forget women's soccer for Delta College. They got a couple awards we're going to go through.
Absolutely.
Sometime this hour or 2 or 3.
So absolutely, we got 3. Well, the third hour is always about the NFL Pick'ems, and we have plenty of people. In fact, we'll see Malik Haynes from the University of Pacific men's basketball team. He will be back with us for the first time in probably about, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
2-3 weeks?
Ever since the basketball started for him.
It's pretty much been a little while since we last saw him, so we'll be actually able to see him. I'm pretty excited to talk to him about this slate of games coming up, and one starting on, I believe it's Thursday, and the other one on Saturday, so we'll kind of talk about those, and he'll break those down. And then, of course...
The Saturday night game?
Saturday night game. Let me plug it. I'm getting there.
What are you talking? Oh, you're talking about basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking football because it's Thursday. Because we were talking about basketball. Football.
It's very, very weird. I mean, we've got 2 basketball games that we're worried about, but at the same time, they're not going to be at home, so we can't even really plug them too much, but they are going to be home on Saturday, so I'm really excited about University of Pacific women's and men's basketball at home. Fresno State coming into town for women's basketball, and Pacific Tiger Radio Network will be broadcasting it live. Myself, John Mark Vaness, looking forward to a great basketball game. So, but we got to we got to plug a few slate of games that happened over the last week. Like I said, Malik Haynes will kind of chime in about the game against Cal State Fullerton, and that was a little bit of a rough stretch considering they were up, I believe, up like 15 points, and were unable to close the door. So we want to kind of get his take on it. The fouls have been in such a situation, and I think that's because, Coach Stoudemire preaches so much defense, and I'm loving every minute of it, but at the same time, you got to kind of be very, very careful on what they're doing. So looking forward to that. Women's basketball, and I swear, every time that I talk to Coach Bradley Davis for the university...
Don't swear.
Well...
Don't swear on the radio.
No, can't do that. Some people have already tried. But every time that I talk to head coach Bradley Davis, I enjoy talking to him more and more. And if you heard the game the other day on Sunday after the CSU Bakersfield game, it was funny because he actually got a hug from his daughter, and we made the joke about I hope that, as he was coming up to talk to us, I go, and as Coach Bradley Davis gets a little hug from a fan, I hope, or at least I hope it's your daughter. And he started laughing. He goes, "No, that's my daughter." So, he goes, "But hugs are always good, especially after a victory." So, but the more I talk to him, the more I said this last week, and I've said this before, is that the more you talk to him, no matter if it's a win or a loss, he's so very open. Mm-hmm. Whether they played very, very good, or they played horrible defense, or they played this, but they did great, but did horrible in this, and we won. But things like, it's just so many things he's able to get off his chest and tell you what it is always great.
Yeah, because I believe it's like after the game is over, it's just back to regular life. Win or lose, it's still, he had to make sure he's still happy no matter what. I don't think there's any coach that's like that where when they lose, can't talk to that coach. There will be times where he's frustrated, of course, but especially like if a game doesn't, if it ended weird or in a bad way, yeah, of course you're going to see a coach don't want to talk to the press or something like that. But most likely, after a win or a loss, it's the same thing. Oh, you want to interview me? Okay, let's go. And it's just pretty much, any coach will tell you how it is. Yep. It's a win or what needs to be improved for the next game, and it's how it is. Well,
you have somebody like Coach Belichick in the NFL, and he's very one-worded, and this is how it's going to be, and yeah, we're just focused on the Bengals next, or whoever the team is, or we're just focused on the Ravens. I don't care about anybody else. We're focused on the Ravens, and he'll try and get something out of them. Now, fair enough. If you're asking a coach about an injury, or you want to try and get in depth, and he's like, we're just focused on insert team name here. Mm-hmm. I get that, but Coach Davis will kind of just go over there a little bit more and go, "Hey, our defense was good, and this is why," and he'll go into it. But I hated the way our offense did this, and it's just like he explains on why and why he likes it and why he hates it and what he needs, or not so much what he hates it for, but why it needs to be improved. Mm-hmm. And we got a chance to see. We actually got a chance to see a lady back in the lineup by Gianna Ulu Summers. And Mark, I'm telling you, if with her in that lineup, this team goes. And that's not to say not to put down any other player that's on that team, but I think Coach Bradley Davis nailed it on the head. Obviously, we're going to play the interview later, but he basically said he's got so much composure that it makes this team calm. This team scores.
She's like the quarterback. Without the quarterback, if you put a bench quarterback, not saying anyone else is not good, but I mean, you need that solid presence that has always been there. I mean, she's a senior, so of course junior. So she got 2 years ahead of pretty much majority of the players, especially the backup point guard. So you see that just watching the game, the last 3 games, and compared that 3 games to just that one, and you could tell the difference between the bench itself.
Well, you saw Amelia Lee. She had 6 assists as well. So, I mean, it's not like she, coming off the bench, though, she had 6 assists. So you got to be very, very excited about what she was able to do. 21 assists in that game. But they did an absolute phenomenal job. And with Gianna being on that team, or on the court, she was just, I mean, this team is, like I said, it's just a completely different team. Yeah, either way, like with Amelia on that team, on that court, they were able to score points. Mm-hmm. But that does, I mean, the defense just kind of struggled, and that's not anything because of her. I think it was just because it was a different kind of atmosphere because one of your star players is not on the team or on the court at that point. But with Amelia Lee, I mean, she was distributing the ball. I think, what was her turnover rates? She had 1 turnover. I mean, out of the 17 turnovers, she had 1. She played, and she only played 13 minutes, and Gianna played. Oh wow, she actually played a total of 30 minutes. Yeah, so she was on the court quite often, and but with Amelia being on there, and I just think that this team's just different. I mean, Desire Finney was a nice contributor for. I'm not saying for a change but from what we're used to, she's been kind of. She was an all WCC player, preseason player of the on the team, and. We hadn't seen much from her. Well, with Gianna back, it seemed like Desire wanted to kind of compete with her a little bit. Not saying that there might have been a little friendly competition in the locker room we don't know about, but it seemed like she was geared up, ready to go. She had 17 points on her own, so she was firing as well.
And I feel like it's more. You could look at it as in a football standpoint where she's like Julio Jones or Des Bryant, where they're gonna double coverage Gianna, so they will leave open the other players like Chelsea or Amelia, Naja, whatever. And with her out the last 3 games, we could play man-to-man coverage type of thing so everyone else was pressured to score. You will see one or two players be able to score double digit, and everyone else is 6 points, 8 points. Now with Gianna back, everyone's scoring, no matter where they at in the court.
Yeah, I mean, and this is something that John Mark Vanessa and I are the other gentleman that was calling the game with me. We were talking about it after the last couple of games against Marquette and everybody else. We were looking for that next person to step up and score some points. Well, here's how it kind of broke down. And so you look at it, Gianna had 20 points, Desire had 17. And after that, nobody else was in double digits. I'm not a huge fan of not having another player in the double digits, but if you look at it like this, Chelsea Leidy, she had 8 points. You had Callie Owen, she had 9 points. Emily Simons, 8 points. Ellie Lopez Segura, 7 points. Unique Coleman, another 7 points. I mean, people were able to find a way to get to the bucket and were doing a great job. I mean, there was just a various amount of players just doing what they needed to do, and they didn't have to get into double digits. The thing was, I prefer to see it, but it doesn't mean that it has to be done.
I mean, you said they have 8, 9, 7 points. Mm-hmm. An easy basket, a 3-pointer, another 2 points. They would all be double digits.
Yep.
So as long as they're spreading. Everyone else is contributing as in shooting wise, and you don't see one 20 points and the other 8, 5, 6 points. As long as they're close by each other, then you know that the ball is passed around. They're making the extra pass for a player or someone else to score.
How crazy was Erica Williams for CSU Bakersfield and the Roadrunners? She started off that first quarter. She had, out of the 22 points, she had 17 points. She was 5 of 5 in the 3-point range, and it was looking like that the Tigers were going to go 22. It was 22-14 after the first quarter. And John Mark Vanessa and I kind of, when we had our small break, we kind of looked at each other and went, "Uh-oh,
is it trouble?
Are we in trouble, or what are we going to see?" Well, after that, it was in the second quarter, something clicked. I don't know what it was, but about 5.5 minutes to go in the second quarter, the Tigers started scoring. The defense started holding up. 19-10 in the second quarter, 30-6 in the third quarter. 30-6. That's insane. And then it was 28-23 in the fourth, and it was a lot of that was free throws. That fourth quarter made me feel like it was the longest fourth quarter I've ever had, because the Tigers were in foul trouble right with 8.5 minutes to go. So it was every foul that was called was putting the Roadrunners to the line. 8.5 minutes to go, there was a stoppage, and I looked up and I looked at John Mark Vanessa. And I was like, wow, I thought there was like 6 minutes left in this quarter. I thought it was. I mean, it was just things were just slowly happening, but the Tigers found a way. And it was absolutely fantastic. I think it was something ridiculous from these midway through the second quarter on. It was like 60, or there was like 80 something or it was 70 or 68 to like 13 or something like that. That's how like the score was 68 to 35 or something like that in the last half or something like that. It was pretty insane. So it was 58 to 29. That's what it was in the second half.
How many did the Roadrunners turnovers? How many did they have?
25.
25.
But they had a lot of those turnovers were in the first three quarters.
Okay.
So the fourth quarter, because the Tigers were fouling, the turnovers kind of got a little bit more even. But if you look at the third quarter, the second and third quarters, that's what kept the Tigers into it, because it was 33-32 at halftime, and the only reason why they were even that close was because of the turnovers.
And I was looking when I was looking at the stat. I don't have it on me. Well, my personal one.
Okay.
No, the one I had where I wrote down some notes where I realized on the first half, for the first half of the Pacific, they were only scoring, I believe, 9 points off the turnovers. So, and that's the reason why they were close with the Roadrunners, the Bakersfield Roadrunners. But at the third quarter alone, they scored 20. They scored 20 points off turnovers. So I think that was a big deal for the Pacific Tigers, being able to score off the turnovers, which it worked now, and that's why once they hit the fourth quarter, they were already leading by, I believe, like around close to 20 points before they sealed it off in the fourth quarter. So turnovers is the biggest thing. Like I said, no matter what, as long as you could score points off that, then you have a good chance of winning any game.
Well, yeah, and you look at, well, another thing that was staggering to me, first quarter, the Tigers actually, it kind of went up a little bit further. It was in the first 5 minutes, they were shooting just around 20% in the first 5 minutes, the Tigers were. They finished it off to go to 38.5%, while the Bakersfield Roadrunners were at 50%. 3-point field goal percentage, 83% compared to the Tigers, 0. Ouch.
Yeah, I've seen that. And I believe they were struggling in their free throws in the beginning until later on, where they finally going in for the Pacific Tigers. And I believe the Roadrunners, they were solid when it comes to the free throw line. So,
yeah, and I think that we saw some of the free throw inconsistencies, and that was the game against Montana State. If they would have had some against Montana State, this team would be 4-3, not 3-4. So, but free throw percentage, 78%. Or 76% overall, 87.5%, 100% in the third quarter. Had a little bit of a lapse in the first two quarters, 4 of 7 and 6 of 9. But overall, 23 of 30 for 76%. That's absolutely phenomenal numbers. 3-point field goal percentage, I said that they had 0 in the first quarter. After that, 3 of 4, 4 of 8, and 5 of 9 to go at to 48%. Those are blistering numbers. Those 48% in 3-point field goal range is absolutely phenomenal. And I'll tell you this, Mark. We can talk about Desire Finney. We can talk about Gianna. We can talk about these normal scorers. But you know what? I'm going to say this. Those four normal players that we talk about are usually the players we always talk about. I wasn't impressed with all of them. There was one other freshman that I was talking about that did absolutely fantastic and actually, I think, turned the tides for the Tigers. If you're not knowing who I'm talking about Callie Owen. She hit 2 threes in the second quarter that got this game close, and really, if she doesn't hit those threes, this is a different ball game.
And I know the second 3-point that Callie Owens scored, the Roadrunners, they call a timeout, and that pretty much just turn the game over differently. And beside that, I don't know if you get the stats already. The bench between the Pacific Tigers and the CSU Bakersfield Roadrunners, big difference. 41 points for Pacific, only 9 points for the Roadrunners. So that's a big difference. Another one, fast break points, 17-2. So Pacific Tigers bench, it's really solid. They could score off the bench beside the starting five. So we know that the Pacific Tigers can score either the first five or even the backups, the bench.
Yeah, I mean, you got your regular 5 starters, and the regular 5 starters, your big is usually a question mark. The last couple of games have been Moriana Clayton, it's been Emily Simons, it's been Ellie Lopez Segura. So your big, your center, if you want to call it a center, because the Tigers don't run with a center, they usually run 2 forwards and 3 guards. Mm-hmm. But if you want to call it your big, Moriana Clayton got the start. She had 2 points she had 2 points and 2 rebounds. She got herself into foul trouble, but she started off very, very nicely for her. Callie Owens, once again, 9 points, 4 rebounds, and she's just a guard. Janelle Grant did play good, even though she had no points. She had 4 rebounds. Every single player except for Janelle Grant had a point. And that's not trying to downplay what Janelle Grant didn't score. It's the fact of the matter, she just didn't have the opportunity to score. But she played and she only played a few minutes. Heck, even Tyler King, who only played 4 minutes, she got a few points in that way too. So it was a drumming. I mean, it really was. I mean, I think that from the midway through the second quarter on, it was a completely different game.
Yeah, Janelle Grant. Just talking about her. Even if she didn't score, she contributed in other ways. She got 4 rebounds. 3 defensive rebounds and 1 offensive rebound, and then she got what else she got? Beside that, she's just there helping out whatever she needs, and that's what's good about the offense is no matter what time you're playing or how many minutes you're playing, they're going to contribute no matter what. 4 minutes, 9 minutes, 6 minutes, 20 minutes, as long as you're contributing to play. Then you're going to have the opportunity to score or even find other ways to. If it's passing, giving an assist, or blocking. Mariana Clayton, she only had 2 points, but she got 2 rebounds. She got 2 blocks and 1 steal. So she played defense. That's all you really need for someone like her is defense.
Yeah, and then you look at the steals. 14 total steals compared to CSU Bakersfield had 6. I mean, the ball control was done very, very nicely. 17 turnovers, but at the same time, those turnovers once again were mostly done in the fourth quarter. I believe if you actually look into the first 3 quarters, it was. The first quarter, the Tigers had 3. By the second quarter, they had 7, and in the third quarter, they had 9 total. And then after that, they gave up 8 turnovers. Yeah, you want to see that improve, but it was the fact of the matter of that they were controlling the ball for the most part and having a full team again and showing what Gianna can do is absolutely great.
Yeah, the turnovers ratio, like I said last week, it doesn't really matter as long as you control. I mean, you're gonna have bad turnovers and good turnovers. Like I believe Malik Haynes was all about that a couple of weeks ago. The last time he was with us was you're gonna.
Where you at, Malik?
You're gonna have your good ones and your bad ones.
Right.
So and no matter what stat, as long they're not scoring off that. Like I said, they only scored 10 points compared to Pacific where they had 37 points and the Bakersfield Roadrunners, they had 25 turnovers and 37 points was the reason was caused by that for having turnover for the Pacific Tigers.
So after the game, we were able to catch up with Gianna Ulu Summers, and we're going to talk about her performance. And she actually had an opportunity, and we're kind of teasing this here a little bit. She had an opportunity to play against a smaller competitor, which, as you'll hear, is not very often she's able to do that. So here's Gianna after the game against CSU Bakersfield. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you're back.
Me too.
How did it feel to get back on the court?
The first quarter was a little out of shape, so it just took my second win to get in, and then after that, it felt like back to normal.
Well, talk about your performance today. I mean, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, today it showed you why you're probably one of the key cogs in the success of the Pacific Tigers.
Honestly, the past 3 games that I was out, they had a little bump in the road, just little things that they could have fixed, and I just got tired of losing, honestly. But I was just trying to, try to do everything that I can for my team and get us on the winning track.
Talk a little bit about this defense. I mean, giving up 61 points is huge. Pacific Tigers, we know can score some points as they are in the top 18 in the NCAA in scoring points, but this defense had to come out strong today.
Yeah, one of our goals was actually keep them under 60. I mean, we got 61, but this week we really just focus on our defense because that's going to help us win games. I mean, we can obviously score, put the ball in the basket, but defense is really when we need to pick up.
What were some of the defensive strategies that you picked up on this today? Because it was over the last couple of games, we know that defense has been tough, but I know Coach has stressed some of the defensive things that you need to do. What were some of them, and what did you feel that you accomplished today?
It was basically just one-on-one pride. Just don't let your man get to the basket. If that did happen, then we got to have help. Just help over, and then everybody else got to scramble. And I think we did really well on that. We had a few lapses where we were careless and forgot to move over, but that's what we're working on.
You had a big-time size advantage over Dallas Jones today, and what were you able to do to really take over on someone like Dallas Jones, who stood probably about a good 4 or 5 inches shorter than you?
Yeah, I really don't get anyone that's usually that smaller than me, but for that it was easier to see the court. I mean, she was fast, so it was kind of hard to guard her. But I mean, I don't know, if someone's that small, I would try to take them, and because they're not going to block my shot or anything. So just someone who's shorter than me, I just try to take advantage of that.
So this is your last home game, then you go away, then home again. Before you come back and play in the Stockton Arena, you play Long Beach State. What do you have to do in order to control Long Beach State and what they're able to provide against, especially, I know they have a strong defense, and that offense is actually pretty good as well.
Yeah, we just got to play our game and not really worry about them too much. Just got to worry about ourselves and what we're actually good at.
So that was Gianna Ulu Summers, and from the that's a little loud, my bad. There we go. So Gianna Ulu Summers from the University of Pacific women's basketball team, and she just kind of was. You could tell she was a little winded from that game. So she was just getting her feet back under her, but she's I think she took on the challenge and played a pretty good game, especially against a smaller defender, but a quicker defender. But I think she held up. She held her own pretty good against Dallas Jones, and the Tigers definitely took a huge uppercut in that first quarter. But after that, it was all Tigers.
I mean, yeah, like she said, it's her first game back. So of course, any player that comes back due to injury or just pretty much just whatever the reason is, you're gonna feel that you're out of shape type of thing. And so I don't think it's going to happen again. Next game she's going to be more better. For this, when she did the post-game interview, it was after the whistle was called. Well, the game was over. She went straight to where you guys were at.
She was straight at us, yeah.
So of course she didn't have time to, can I drink water at least? Nope. You'll do your interview right now. Okay, so, but yeah, congratulations to her and the rest of the team for winning. I believe they play tomorrow, Wednesday night. They're on against Long Beach.
Yep.
So
I'll get you the exact time here in just
7 p.m.
I think is it 7? I think it was actually. I think they moved it up. I think it's 6.
Okay, 6 o'clock. 1 hour difference.
Actually, no, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Major difference.
Huge difference.
2 hours.
Huge difference. Yeah. I know you weren't ready for it. Anyway, so you know what?
I'm not ready.
It wasn't ready. You know what it's time for, Mark?
What?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a small break, and when we come back, I think it's time for 10 Friends with JD. So let's go ahead and take that small break right here on the Pacific Tiger Radio Network. We are 209 Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
Ooh.
This Saturday, December 10th, catch the action as Pacific Tigers women's basketball team takes on the Fresno State Bulldogs live at the Stockton Arena on the Pacific Tigers Radio Network 91.9 FM.
Gets it up to Naja Queenland. Queenland fakes out like she's going to hand it off. 3-point on the way, and good. Desire Finney decides to shoot a 3, and she nails it.
Danique will drive it down low, and she will get the 2.
Jeff Dominic and John Mark Van Ness will have the call starting at 4:45 p.m. and tip-off at 5 p.m. Pacific Tigers Radio Network, the home of Pacific Tigers Women's Basketball. Pacific Tigers Women's Basketball. Pacific Tigers Women's Basketball.
Go Tigers!
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man!
No, sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier.
My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school.
Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I feel like if I didn't have anyone to push me, I wouldn't give a bother to do it. I got one milestone down the drain, and now I got to work on the next. I see the future is really bright for me. I feel like it doesn't matter the age, as long as you go back and get it done. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
No one gets a diploma alone. You have more support than you realize. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plotto and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad O'Clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Mark, I think your camera was rolling down the street too much. Welcome back to 209.
I've been on that.
Whoa! I don't know what that was. That was me, apparently. Welcome back to 209 Sports Talk here on the 209 Sports YouTube channel. I am JD Jeff Dominic. That is Mr. DJ JOD Mark Itleong. We are also on the Pacific Tiger Radio Network. We're in the Pacific Tiger Studios. Thank you all for tuning in today. We were just talking about the University of Pacific women's basketball team and their huge win. Nothing huge, and they're actually a really, really big win. How about that? Just because you weren't ready, he wasn't ready.
No,
He's still not ready.
Still not ready.
But because they're
It's not just big, it's huge.
So anyway, they had a huge win against the University of CSU Bakersfield Roadrunners. But it is time to move on, and it's time to go bring it back. The little segment we called 10 Frames with JD. This is, of course, the... Yep.
Just leave it up there.
Just leave it up there now. It's at that point. But anyways, this is that segment where really Mark was being very, very generous, and he must be in the Christmas spirit because he gave me a pretty good score last week. But this is a segment where Mark will take over. He will ask the questions, and he will ask me those questions, and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Now, these are unscripted. That means I've never seen these questions, so I have no clue on what he's going to ask me, and he has no clue how I'm going to answer this. So we usually have a discussion. He gives me a score. We don't keep track. Yada yada yada.
Yes, you did, because you just said that you had
I didn't know what the score was. No, I did not say perfect. I said he gave me a really good score. So, anyways.
Yeah, but then you say you don't.
I don't
keep
know.
score, but
We don't keep score, but I know you gave me a good score last week.
Wow.
Anyways.
Wow. That's all I gotta say is wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we'll quit being a hater.
No.
Yes.
Let's play. Ready? 10 Friends with JD.
Man, what are the realest guys in the rooms?
I need to open the questions.
I'll take over.
Oh, you missed Raw. You should have seen Raw.
I watched the end of it.
Did you see the segment between Lana and Enzo?
No, I didn't see the segment. Was it hot? It was hot.
Very hot.
Hot.
I mean, because thinking it's going to be PG, it was a segment where it wasn't PG.
It's not PG, huh?
It wasn't PG.
Oh boy, I do need to watch that. So what you're saying is after the game on Saturday between the University of Pacific for the University of Pacific women's game, and then also there's the men's game right following behind that. You're saying I need to go and watch that.
Mm-hmm.
So Fresno State and then versus Rider. Men's basketball taking on Rider, so that should be a good game too. So, anyways,
don't they play before that?
Who?
The men's or?
Yeah, men's plays. They play at 4:00 against UMass. They're going to Massachusetts, man.
When they play that?
That is on Thursday, the 8th.
Okay.
So be careful.
I just wanted to plug that since we were talking about Saturday. So
I was kind of waiting for Malik to really. We were going to hit this pretty hard with Malik. So.
Okay.
But anyways, UMass and then Rider. So be careful against Rider because you're going all the way across country. You're going to have one day off and then you got another game. So that could be an interesting game. Anyways, moving back on. 10 Frames with JD.
Number one, what is your explanation on why Colin Kaepernick struggled so badly against the Chicago Bears this past Sunday?
That's a good question. I think that
all my questions are good. I don't know.
I think that he
was that a cough or a laugh?
It was a little bit of both.
Okay.
Anyways, I think that he just wasn't ready for. I think he just wasn't prepared. He wasn't ready. He wasn't prepared for a game that should have been won by the San Francisco 49ers. The Bears were coming off of a tough loss. They just don't look that good of a team right now. And the San Francisco 49ers just completely gave up a goose egg. Yes, I get it. It was in Soldier Field. It was in Chicago. It was in snow. Doesn't make a difference. They had to fight the same elements. Yeah, Chicago's used to that kind of elements, but at the same time, you had an opportunity to come out with a win, and you didn't. I think that Colin Kaepernick was just not ready. I think he just wasn't prepared well enough. And I think that, don't put that on the coaches. I think put that on him. And I think the Chicago Bears had a good game plan against him.
Oh, well, I don't know if you heard, but I was saying this morning for Fantasy Football Classroom, which you could hear Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 12 o'clock.
Couple more episodes left.
So, no, but they were saying how Chip Kelly's father passed away over this past week. So that could lead some preparation of game planning difference for Chip Kelly and the offense. But yet again, I say it doesn't really matter for the offense. I mean, because it's Colin Kaepernick's offense that needs to do something about it. And they didn't do anything, really.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that situation. I was going to say a few other choice words, nothing negative. I mean, nothing bad. It's just I had a few other choice words that I wanted to say. I don't agree with it, and the reason why I say that is because the San Francisco 49ers have been exactly like this all season. It's not this one game. This one game should have been won, and I understand Chip Kelly's father passed away. That might have messed him up mentally, but it doesn't mess up the whole team. Your quarterbacks still have their quarterback coaches. They still have the offensive coordinators. You all right, bud?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But you still have the offensive coordinators. You still have a game plan that the offensive coordinators are responsible to do. And Chip Kelly is an offensive coordinator. He's an offensive-minded coach. But at the same time, you still have a plan set forth in front of you, and you just still didn't execute. So I put that on the coaching staff, but I also put that on Colin Kaepernick.
Okay. I give you 8.
Okay.
Because Troy Aikman's my favorite football player.
Oh, wow.
Had nothing to do with
random, just random. I like it. I thought you know what I thought you were gonna do.
What?
I'll be honest. I thought you said that. I thought what you were gonna do is because I thought you were gonna give me a 9. The reason why I say that is because Colin Kaepernick's number 7, Blaine Gabbert's number 2. Put them together, 9.
No.
I liked it.
I was gonna give you at least 1 because Colin Kaepernick only had 1 completion.
Well, heck, the Bears and the San Francisco 49ers had as many completions as you and I did combined in the first quarter and a half, so it's all right.
Yeah. So, number 2. But I need to play again.
Do it again. I don't care. It's our show. Who cares?
Okay, another quarterback controversy is Cam Newton. Do you think it is more of a tie issue on why Cam Newton did not start for the Carolina Panthers?
It is. It was a tie issue, but at the same time, it wasn't. I think Coach Ron Rivera wanted to make sure that he still has control of that locker room. I think that if he didn't do it, it could have affected this team the rest of the way season through. It could have affected him until he may have gotten fired. I mean, it might have been another season and a half. And if the Panthers didn't do what they were supposed to do and start winning, turn the teams around. I mean, you can have a bad season and the next season turn it around. The Carolina Panthers did. I mean, they already did that. That's how they went 15-1. I believe they were 7-9 the season before that. So, or 9-7. I know they made it to the playoffs, but they can do this. And the thing is that I think Coach Ron Rivera was sending a message saying that I still have control of this locker room. No one else does. I don't care who you think you are. You can be a superstar. You can be an MVP. You're still playing for me. And as long as I'm here, you're going to play under my rules. I think that Cam, if Cam would have communicated with him, he said it too. I think this was more than. I think he said it best. I think they didn't lose over a tie issue. They lost because that team just completely got beat down by the Seattle Seahawks. But I think that if he would have communicated to him, if what he says was true, then I'm completely fine with it. But at the same time, I think Ron Rivera did the right thing by benching him because I think he still wanted to make sure that everyone knew that he had control of his locker room. He's still a player's coach, and I think everybody loves him. So I think that that's not an issue. I think that he was making sure that he made a statement, and I think he did. I think he had the great choice by using Cam Newton as that example.
Okay. I gave you 8 because my favorite wide receiver is 88, Michael Irvin. You like how I did that?
I like it. Fair enough.
Like it a lot. Number 3. Okay, so if you were playing a sport for any of the coaches at Delta College, who would you play for and why? And don't worry about, let's say you want to be a volleyball player, go ahead and you can say Coach Molly, something like that. So it doesn't matter, like I can't pick her or him because
it's a women's sport or whatever.
Yeah, just pretend, just switch the roles.
You know what? I like, oh man, now all of a sudden his name slips my mind. Gosh, I'll think of it here in a second, but the San Joaquin Delta College men's baseball, better known as D Squad. You thought I was going to mess that one up?
No.
Yeah, no.
I thought you just waited for me to say the
No, I was going with you.
This is all you.
No, Reed Peters, head coach Reed Peters. He's always been one of those guys that you just kind of like to be around. He's got so much baseball knowledge. I mean, he was a draft pick for the, actually at the time it was the California Angels. Now it's the Anaheim Angels. It was just, but yeah, he was such a great guy to be around. And in fact, you have people like Colin Thoreau. My name is Colin Thoreau. That's my boy. I like that kid. But anyways, and I think he'll be a good catcher in the Oakland Athletics organization. But anyways, but you got somebody like that, and he just he always finds a way to have a winning program. He expects a certain thing from you, but at the same time, he brings players to be so coached up. And if you talk to any of his players from the last, what's he been around, last decade at Delta, everyone loves being around him, and they come back just to visit with him. So I would say if anybody, it would be head coach Reed Peters. And right there, do I have 2 or just going to stay with the 1?
Just 1.
Okay, then it would be Reed Peters.
Okay.
So that's my answer.
Well, I just want to hear your second one. Who would it be?
It'd be Coach Molly.